I wanted to create a video on social media, mainly because Smash Summit has been announced last week for an April tournament. The last Smash Summit, a handful of the players were invited, and the rest of the people, I believe there were 6 of them, were voted in through a nomination ballot process where people could buy votes, and ultimately 6 people got in from there. And I just really want to emphasize for this. So this might be a thing for aspiring content creators, for top players, or even for people that want to have more influence in the Smash community. Just the importance of why you need social media. And 2 to 3 years ago, I would have said like Twitter's the most obnoxious thing. I absolutely hate it. I still kind of don't like it. I think it's a little bit self-indulgent, but I realize that it's a necessary evil and that I need to bleach. So when Prague, kind of pushed me to create social media, create a Twitter, I reluctantly agreed, and then I realized that there is power to this. Instead of going on Facebook and notifying all my non-Smash playing friends about Smash related things, I could go on Twitter. People can follow me if they're interested in that stuff and, get their information from me. And so lo and behold, I'm at about 16K followers, but I just want to express just how important social media is, and I want to just give a couple examples of where social media draw would have helped certain people to get to certain things in Smash history. So about 3 years ago now, we had the E3 Invitational, and 16 players got picked. Little did people know that out of the 16, there was a wider bucket of people that certain people nominated to Nintendo to say, here are some good players that could represent the community. And this included a lot of Brawl players, too, at that time. And the people who made this list gently encouraged people to say, like, hey, you should create some AMAs, you should go on Twitch, you should stream more so that you can be more visible, and so that Nintendo could, see what you're up to, what you're about, and ultimately make a better decision on whether or not they should use you to represent Smash as a quote-unquote ambassador. Now, there were a bunch of people who did nothing, who did not do a single AMA, who did not have Twitter, and this was in about 2013, and coincidentally, they did not get picked. And so, some people that did get picked, they had an unfair advantage of being in the documentary, but that's life. And so that's an instance where social media power actually helps. It helps you stay visible. And so for Smash Summit, it inevitably is a popularity contest, but that's life, frankly. If you're the best person ever to do something, but you can't advertise yourself well, or nobody knows about you, then you're not going to get the stuff that you want. And this applies to things like elections, ASB office. This applies to people coming to your tournament. This comes to people recognizing you as a top player. It sounds unfair, it sounds petty, but that's life. If people don't know about what you're capable of, then nobody's going to vote for you, and no one's going to talk about you. And so for Smash Summit 2, there's probably going to be some voting structure, and I would hope that people who want to get in are going to start to promote themselves more in a way that they can become more visible and get more votes. And this is something that Mango and Alex19 really did really well. Alex19 has a really great stream. He's growing in his fan base, and that's part of the reason why he got picked over, quote unquote, more qualified, more talented players. Granted, he did ride the Mango train, but Mango's allowed to do that because he created a social media brand that's large enough and influential enough that people follow him. So what I hope for people that are interested in getting in is that they start now. They start, getting more active on Twitter. They start doing more streams, and they start getting more viewers involved. Because if you don't do that and you're not a top 8 player, or you're not like getting to grand finals at nationals, frankly, nobody outside of a little bubble will really know who you are. And that's reality. If you ask a person that follows like League of Legends and watches Smash, they're probably going to only be able to name Mango, Armada, Mewtwo, Leffen, pretty much like the big 6 and maybe a few other players. And for people who get into the top 12 or top 16 or like top 24, no one knows about them. And so this is where like that kind of helps a lot. So I'm hoping that people do that. That's my encouragement to them. And then from a broader scope, I think social media is really important in terms of the growth of Smash, and this is something that Melee figureheads have really picked up on the past a couple of years. If you see an article by Prague, or you see an SSS tournament, or you see something that needs to be promoted by all the Melee figureheads, it will get like 100 retweets. And that's the power of a network, is that we can use our social media reach. A lot of us have tens of thousands of followers on Twitter, on our Instagram, Snapchats. And so if we need to get something promoted and something out there really quick, we can get all our figureheads and top players to really mobilize and say, like, read this article or watch this cool video. And this gets more people to know our stories, to really know what is going on with the game, with the community. And it gets a lot more outside draw. And these numbers, in turn, hopefully will one day be large enough to entice larger sponsors to say, hey, this is our viewership reach. Would you be interested in partnering with Smash? And so my encouragement, and this is kind of this could be taken as loose shots for Smash 4, is this is something that Smash 4 frankly lacks. A lot of their players, there are some really good ones, so I'm not going to say everybody, is the lack of Smash 4, I guess, social media network. So when something gets, there's a lot of good articles, and there are actually some people writing about the game and creating content. It's just that there is no really unified front, so it's really hard to find these articles. And the only way these really get to the forefront of people's eyes is by the power of a social media network. So if something's on one website or another website, are people promoting it enough that it's visible to a larger audience? Is it getting 100 retweets? Is it getting thousands of favorites? And frankly, they aren't. And that's part of the big reason why a lot of these stories in Smash 4 aren't being shared. There are stories, there are narratives, and people might care. I can't guarantee that, but a lot of the reasons why the stories aren't intriguing or aren't as captivating is because no one knows about them. So for Smash 4, I would hope that you guys unify and create a united front where if something comes out, you guys all retweet and you guys try to really push the brand of Smash 4. These are all just important elements, and I would recommend that if you're a figurehead, if you are, even just a content creator, writer, YouTuber, that you really get on that. Because it's actually really important if you want to survive in Smash and have meaningful work.